not only do the core style, but there are also some supplementary forms and exercises that we do, because martial artists, especially traditional martial arts and people that take this seriously, evolve, and they also befriend people that actually share some of their knowledge or experience. So that's how some of these fringe forms gets into your system as you teach. So aside from the main forms that I teach, I also teach some of the modern forms. I teach the modern Tai Chi forms. I also teach some of the northern forms, and those come down the pike from my teacher, from his experience, and from his teachers, from their experience. So because we teach 3 traditional styles, there are fringes and different pieces that come together. And in America, martial arts on the traditional side is pretty fragmented in a way that not everyone has access to teachers. So then they pick up a little bit here, a little bit there. Back in the 60s, karate was very popular, and then kung fu became popular, and then a lot of the karate people ended up doing kung fu because they like kung fu and they had access to teachers that taught it. But here again, you did karate, you did kung fu, you do a little of this, you do a little of that, and that becomes an experience of the teacher that's teaching it. Now, traditionalists like myself, we stay with one teacher for a long time. I stayed with my teacher for 27 years. 27 years is a long time. So 27 years before I actually started teaching on my own. I taught for him for as long as he was an American, since 1970. So over those years, that relationship built a bonding of exchange of knowledge. But then, when my teacher passed away, I expanded my horizon by going back to meet my grandmasters, and some of my grandmasters, or even my advanced students of my teacher, had other experiences or had other systems that were under their belt, so-called under their belt. So they had additional insights of different styles, which they shared. So I have a pretty diverse segment of information that doesn't just stay within the realm of our traditional arts. Not to take away anything from any of the systems that I work with, but I do it for interest, to preserve it, and also because the school is called Calvin Shin's Martial Arts Academy. Housed inside the Martial Arts Academy are the 3 traditional systems and everything else that I teach here. So people that watch online might sometimes say, oh, that's not this, that's not that, and that's not that. Is it northern, is it southern? Actually, you're going to get a blend of a lot of things, because students that pass through here have a pretty diverse repertoire of form and experience and knowledge. So that's why you'll see things that we do that probably are not what typical Hung Gar people would do, or typical modern stylists would do. It's not a blend, it's actually the way we run the school, or the way I've designed the thing to work. So here we go, first exercise. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and stop. To the side, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and stop. Okay, next, a little bit of stretching. We go down. 1, 2, 3 to your right, 2, 3 to your left, 2, 3, center, inhale, exhale. Hands up, reach down. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Center, inhale, exhale. Hands up, reach down, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Center, inhale, exhale. Okay. Hands on your waist. Circular movements. If you didn't notice by now, we have a mirror here. Maybe I should stand up more forward so you can see that you have the back view from the rear mirror, and you have the side view if he was using this camera, and we have the corner angle that you can see, side view or back angled rear view. So it gives you a better perspective. I think, streaming, teaching like this is quite a challenge for not only the teacher, but also for anybody viewing this. So we try to give you the best perspective and give you the best information that you can get online, and also to give you, the best experience. And center. Okay, cross. Knees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 and stop. Reverse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, and stop. Okay, hands on your waist. Turning, neck, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center, tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center, and forward. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, center, hands up. Pull in, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Okay, spread your feet. 1, 2, 3. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, and stop. Okay, we're going to turn. We're going to stretch a little bit. We're going to switch. So stretching really just, this is, we call them warm-ups or fundamentals. The stretching is actually, every sport does stretching. It just sort of prepares your body and gets the muscles warmed up, if you call it warming up. But stretching is theoretically not a warm-up. Stretching is after you should be warmed up. So really, when the muscles are tight, you're just starting to stimulate the action, and then your body will start to sort of acclimate. you have to work a relationship in the legs, and you actually learn to let go. So you have to, it's not a physical thing, it's a mental thing. Stretching is to inhibit your stretch reflex, or at least get your body limbered up to be more pliable. And usually when it's warm outside, or if you've actually done a little bit of moving around, your body gets the blood moving, your body will be warmer, and it starts to allow you to stretch better. So you really need to warm up your muscles in order for you to stretch. So my mic is on, so I hear the phone ring, and usually that's to let me know my mic is not on. Okay? So there's your stretch, and then that's the back of your hamstrings. Now, inner thigh, when we stretch like this, that kind of helps your inner thighs. And we need the inner thighs to open when we go into the stances. A lot of times the Southern styles don't do a lot of stretching. And as I mentioned earlier, we do some Northern forms, so it does require some flexibility. I used to do in the classes when we had live classes, fundamentals in Wushu. We did Wushu for a number of years here as a modern approach to some of the things that we do, mainly for performances and competition. We used to be very active in the competitive role of bringing in some of our youth to be active. And when the kids are young and vital, they really have the vitality. They really want to do some of those athletic movements. So, martial arts has different facets. It's for competition, it's for self-defense, it's for physical activity, it's for wellness, it's for prevention of age-related degeneration. So there's really many facets of why you would do this and what the benefits are to the individual that has specific goals. Now, if none of these goals are of interest to you, you probably will not want to practice this kind of an art. But the thing is, it's sort of what they call different strokes for different folks. If you're not interested in this type of training, then most likely you wouldn't be tuning in. But if you're tuning in, you probably do have an interest, so you have to understand, how this all works, okay? So we're in a shoulder width stance, and I'm going to do a few of these punches. Switch. Side. Side. So when we do these warm-ups, if you were a practitioner or you've been to some other Southern style school or you've practiced another family lineage of Hung Kuen, you're not going to be doing these exercises. Let me be clear that these exercises are specifically in our system because these exercises were put together by my teacher back in 1970 as a format. I assisted him in creating this line of warm-up and fundamental training, but the thing is, you're not going to see this in other styles. So it's not something specifically for Hung Ga or Hung Kuen style. In fact, this is really training in the Footwork Tai Chi system. So if you practice this system, then you will be doing these exercises. And the roots of these exercises are in the family systems that we teach. So that's really why it's so unique to our training. It doesn't mean that other styles doesn't have a movement like this, because these movements will show up in some form or characteristic of something, because this is the edge of the hand to the side. Everybody has that, and everybody has the sun punch. So, it's just a format of how we combine the movements as a training. So when you do this exercise, don't make the circles too small. It has to be from here to here. It's called Choy, or circular punch, or wheel punch. Cheilun is a wheel. And then we have the back fist. And it's a shoulder height back fist. So everything is kind of reference to what we do in the forms, and we look in the direction of the fist. Switch. And center. Okay, deep breathing. So, he's here. So Lucien's going to come in and take over with the.
Yeah. Thanks, Sifu.
Okay.
We said we're going to run through some kicks, and then we're going to run through some bridges, some low block, middle block, high block, and a horse dance, things like that. And then after that, we're going to continue on to 5 stances, first form, and so on. The format of our classes is the same every time. So we do the same set of warm-ups every class. And that's because we want to build that muscle memory versus having to think about what we're doing. We just want it to be kind of automated. So that's why we do that. And also because there's benefit to it. Practicing your punches, practicing your kicks, practicing your bridges in a diligent and deliberate way helps to improve those. So in any case, we're going to start with our left foot forward in a full leaning stance. Let me see, Sifu said, try to step up, see if I can use this. So if you can see in that mirror, hopefully that's helpful. Now we're going to punch, toe out, kick with the toe pointed, step back and punch. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good, let's switch. Jeet Chang Hoi, pushing out with the heel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's switch. We're going to do straight leg kick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We switch. Wong Sohoi, waist high, roundhouse. Pick the knee up. Turn the hip and the waist over. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And one more time. Inhale and exhale. Good. So next up, we're going to open up into a horse stance. We start what we would call the ready position, feet slightly apart, both feet parallel, toes line up with each other in a straight line, hands at your sides, body straight, relaxed, and the eyes alert and looking forward. We make fists, pull the elbows back, fists go to the waist, knuckle up, bend the knees, heels, toes, heels, and toes. So our toes are still on a straight line with each other. The knees are bent out, feet are parallel. You don't want the toes out like this. Body is straight, and we're going to do Ping Choy, a reverse punch. It turns over like that. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Closing, 1, 2. Let's do low block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Closing, 1, 2. Middle block, come across the body, stop at the shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Closing, 1, 2. High block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Closing, 1, 2. Lim Wam Sam Sik. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. Closing, 1, 2. Now we're going to do low block with a punch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, and 2. Closing, 1, 2. Middle block with a punch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Closing, 1, 2. High block with a punch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Closing, 1, 2. Danji Kyo Sil. Pull it back out to the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Going low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Going high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Last set, going forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thrust, flip, roll, press. Thrust, flip, roll, press. Thrust, flip, roll, press, and we close. 1, 2. Closing up. Shake it out. Deep breathing. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Okay, so next up we're going to do 5 stances. We're going to do 5 stances to 4 directions. We only have this camera here, so we're going to try to utilize the mirrors so that you can see everything from all sides. 5 stances is a drill that's specific to our school. It's something our sifu Calvin Chen created. And it's not the 5 stances of Wushu. It's a traditional Honga 5 stances. And we do this drill so that we can coordinate the upper and the lower, get our stances and our hand techniques working together. All right? So it's going to be repetitive. We're going to do the first direction this way. We'll come towards camera. come back this way, and end here, completing the square. And when we do that, if you can't see from one angle, don't worry, because we're going to come to the other angle. If I have to adjust my stepping to stay in frame, I will. So here we are, ready position, make fist, raise them up to the chest, open the hands, drop the elbows. Those of you that already do Honga or Hung Kuen, you would recognize this as a gunji fufu opening. Make fists, pull, open, push, pull, push, pull, push. Double elbow, press, thrust, press. Big hoop, and we close. Right fist on top, step out, offset horse stance, chun kill, draw the bow, sliding step, leaning stance, punch. Left hand underneath, step all the way through to leaning stance, elbow, turn the waist in stance, punch. Toe out, big cross step, make a hoop, dragon whips tail, spin to your left, corner back fist to the head, make a circle with the left hand, toe out, intercept, cat stance, punch. Step straight back, cover, leaning stance, high block, low block, left knee up, turn, drop and chop, uppercut, and we close. I'm going to move this way just again to make sure that I stay in frame. Right fist on top, step out, offset. Offset is a toe to heel stance. Draw the bow, sliding step, leaning stance, punch. Left hand underneath, step all the way through to leaning, elbow behind you, turn your waist in stance, make sure that hand comes to protect the ribs. Toe out, big cross step, dragon whips tail, spinning to the right, spin out to the left, corner back fist to the head, intercept, cat stance, punch. Step straight back, cover, leaning stance, high block, low block, left knee up, turn, drop and chop, uppercut, and we close. That's two. Here's our third direction. We're coming across this way. Right fist on top, chun kill, sliding step, leaning stance, punch. Left hand underneath, step all the way through, elbow, punch. Toe out, big cross step, turn to your right, dragon whips tail, spin out, corner back fist to the head, intercept, cat stance, punch. Step straight back, cover, leaning stance, high block, low block, left knee up, turn, drop and chop, uppercut, and close. I'm going to offset from the camera. We're going that final direction. Right fist on top, offset, chun kill, sliding step, punch. Left hand underneath, step all the way through, leaning, elbow, punch. Toe out, big cross step. Make a big hoop first. Make sure your weight's predominantly on the right leg. The heel of your left foot is already up. And now you turn with that hoop. Spin out, corner back fist, intercept, cat stance, punch. Step straight back, cover, leaning stance, high block, low block, left knee up, turn, drop and chop, uppercut, and we close. Let me just make sure I'm... Yep, sorry, I was having a panic, a nagging moment in my head that maybe my mic wasn't on, but it was. So that concludes the 5 stances. What we're trying to do there, this is the first thing we teach even before form, after we do all the drills and the warm-ups that you see in class. The reason for that is that we're also trying to instill in people a methodology for practicing. How do you practice, right? Do you do your form 1,000 times? Sure, that's one way to practice. Do you do it at top speed and all out all the time? Probably not. You might be better off taking things and deliberately practicing each movement, making sure you get positioned, that you're in balance, and moving on to the next. So this drill teaches that kind of strategy that hopefully you would take with you in all of your training. Also, I do want to mention, as of this morning, we have 970 subscribers. So it means we're 30 subscribers away from hitting our first major benchmark. We've had a lot of benchmarks along the way, so, when we went from 3 subscribers to 100, we thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And then we went to 500, we thought, wow, really cool. Now we're at 970, which is amazing, and we're really appreciative for those of you that have supported our efforts on this channel by subscribing. I was looking in the analytics the other day and I saw that something like 80% now of people who are regularly tuning into our videos are not subscribed. And I don't understand it, because all it is hitting a button. It doesn't cost anything, but it can help us out. If we can get to 1,000, we get monetized by YouTube, and then we don't have to ask anybody to help us offset the costs of all of this. You know, we've got this beautiful and large, you know, Kung Fu school. For a traditional school, I'd say it's pretty big. You know, we've got these 2 rooms here that you may have seen in other videos. We also have all this camera equipment, all this mixing equipment that you never see. All of this stuff has a cost, and so getting monetized by YouTube would allow us to bring in some income to offset those costs without having to ask you individually for it, and it would really help us to grow our channel as well. And we are, in fact, trying to reach a wider and broader audience worldwide. We want to benefit as many people as we can, and we feel like this is a solid way to do it, especially in these times. So if you haven't already, please do just click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit like, leave us a comment, let us know how we're doing. Even if you don't think we're doing well, let us know. Leave it in the comment section. All of that stuff really goes a long way to helping us to continue to offer this content that we offer 4 days a week now, which is, you know, a fairly consistent, well, it's fully consistent, but also that's a fair amount of content that you're getting at no cost. So, yeah. Now we're going to do Moy Fa Kuen. That's the first form, the Plum Flower Fist Set. It's the first form that we teach here at Calvin Chin's Martial Arts Academy. We'll follow that with the second form, which is Lao Kuen, the Lao Family Fist Set. And then we'll even get into Bambu Kuen, which is a 7-star praying mantis crushing step form. And that is a form that's not part of our Honga curriculum specifically. It's not Honga, but it was added by our late great Grandmaster Lam Jo. And we carry on that tradition of doing that form here. If you have any questions about any of this stuff as we go, questions or comment, any feedback, we love to hear from you. Please leave it in the comment section on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you happen to be watching it, although hopefully you're watching it on YouTube and you subscribe. But I won't be able to answer those comments right now. Normally I'm the guy behind the scenes and I monitor the chats and I can answer your questions as we go. But when I'm in front of the camera, it has to wait until I come back behind the camera. But leave it even now, and I'll be happy to get those questions answered for you in real time. Okay, so next up, Moy Fa Kuen, the Plum Flower Fist Set. So we're here. Make fists, raise them up. Salute. Step back. And close. Step out. High block. Low block. Pull your foot back half the distance, cross stance, cross block, step out, dragon. Right fist on top, step back, chun kill. Scoop, step all the way up, uppercut. Left hand on top, cat stance, remove. Step up leaning, punch. Squatting, uppercut. Remove. Step up, punch. Toe out, cat stance, high block, hammer fist. Cross block. Turn to the rear, drunken punch to the front, left hand underneath, remove, high block, step up, punch. Squatting, uppercut, sliding step, punch. Squatting, elbow up, step up, cutting hand, double palm strike to the waist, remove, punch. Toe out, I'm going to move this way just so I stay in frame. Toe out, step to the rear, right foot's forward, come across with your right fist, left hand underneath, remove, turn your waist and roll the elbow, low corner back fist, palm strike to the chest, high block, outside crescent, hop kick, press, bong seal, trap, sit up, back fist, remove, punch. Right fist on top, step in, step back, step out, clearing the way, draw the bow, sliding step, palm strike. Pull your foot back, cross step, scoop, kick, punch. Dragon, right fist on top, chun. Sliding step, leaning stance punch, middle, salute. 1, 2, 3, and we close. So let's do deep breathing really quick. Good. So just a couple of basics or fundamentals. You always want to step into a transition stance that is not the stance your technique ends in. So what I mean by that is when in the first form, when we're here and we step up to leaning so that we can use the legs and the waist to punch. If I step into offset, which is the stance my punch ends in, then I step to here, what do I have left is just my hand, just an arm movement. So when I'm here, I step up to leaning. Now I use the legs and the waist to drive that movement out, right? It's the same here. We cut, we go to offset to turn to leaning, right? So that you're really driving that movement forward. Too often we see people kind of step into the stance and just push their arms out, but you really can't use it that way, right? So this form, it's not super fancy. It's not like a Wushu set with a bunch of aerials and splits and all of that stuff. This is a pretty typical traditional Southern Hung Kuen or Honga form. And it's very practical. All of this stuff, removing, punching, uppercut, the person blocks, you sliding step and punch. All of these things are very kind of, very similar to what you might see or use in an actual self-defense situation. And it bears taking your time and doing everything piece by piece so that, again, we can build that coordination from upper to lower. Because just doing this really doesn't help you. You can throw your arm as hard as you want. You're not going to develop power. Another thing is balance. When you step out to an offset horse stance, it's toe to heel. When you turn to leaning, your feet are already aligned. So you're going to tend to have more balance. If your feet are here, out of position, now you go to turn, you can lose your balance, right? So if you find that you're throwing punches or kicks and you end up off balance a lot, it might have something to do with the alignment of your feet. All right, so next up we're going to do Lao Ga. That's the second form. Lao Ga Kun is the Lao Family Fist Set, and we'll do that now. It has a kind of a box pattern as well, and I'll try to adjust my feet to stay in frame with the camera. Okay, so we're here, make fists, raise them up, leaning stance, middle. Pivot, toe out, cat stance, turn, big hoop. Step back, pull your elbows in, shift, pivot, middle. Salute, step back, turn to leaning, feet together, close. 2 punches to the ears, 2 punches down, push out, scoop. Cross step with your left, middle block with your left hand, cat stance, turn your waist, punch. This looks just very familiar from 5 stances, right? Step back, cover. Leaning stance, high block, low block. This part's a little different than 5 stances. We're going to turn the waist to leaning and chop to the waist. You got to relax your arm and let it go. Pull your foot back, scoop, press, kick, punch. Right fist on top, step back, clear the way. Choy kill, sliding step, leaning stance, punch. We're going to step all the way through to leaning. Bring the right fist high block off the forehead, right off the temple, and the left hand strikes out to the sternum. We're going to turn and tendu. Lift, strike out songong. Your left hand has to come out farther than your high block. If your high block and your left hand are in the same position, you didn't actually reach your opponent. So you have to lift, strike out. Both elbows down, dragon. Turn, toe out, cross step, high block, low block. Pivot out, palm strike. Pull your foot back, scoop, press, kick, hop, thrust, cut, double chop, cross step tendu, wang chang hoi, phoenix eye. This is a thrusting punch. Phoenix eye, back fist, and uppercut all end in the same position, but they get there different ways. Back fist comes down, uppercut comes up, and phoenix eye thrusts out. Right fist on top, step up, chun. Punch, left hand on top. As we step through to leaning, we're going to bend the elbow, folding and strike out. This is a penetrating elbow. Dropping palm, back fist. Right fist on top, chun kill, sliding step, punch. Step all the way through, go to position first, tendu, songgong. Elbows down, dragon, turn, cross step, high block, low block, spin, palm strike, pull your foot back, scoop, press, kick, thrust, cut, double chop, cross step, tendu, kick, phoenix eye, both hands down, palms facing the left, turn the body. So despite what you may think, this movement, even though it looks like the hands doing a big movement, this movement is not the arms doing this. We set the arms in position. They line up on the hips and the shoulder, and we turn the hips and shoulder. That brings the hands there. Cross step, right hand on top, turning the wheel, left hand goes to the shoulder, right hand goes to the waist. Step out to leaning, push. Cross step, lift, we turn. Cross step, turn the wheel, right hand to the shoulder. Step, turn, leaning, push. Step in, step out, low block, uppercut. Step in, step out, low block, uppercut. Step straight back, middle block. Reach out, turn your waist, chop to the neck. Adjust your foot, thrusting elbow. Dropping palm, back fist. Pivot, lift. 1, 2, sword finger. We open as we cross step, trap. Step through, press, thrust. Suspended, salute. Step back, 1, 2, 3, and we close. Well done. Hopefully you're able to follow that at home. Deep breathing. Okay, so again, I just want to point out that position makes all the difference in the world. A lot of times people try to throw a lot of power in the technique, but if you're out of line, if you don't have the alignment or that structure, you're going to tend to be out of balance, or you'll get out of balance as soon as you feel any resistance. It'll tend to push you off your feet. B, you're going to be too kind of muscle oriented. You get tight and you have a hard time to move to the next movement. You have a hard time finding your accuracy. So taking the time to find these positions, once you build that into your muscle memory, then you can move your legs and your waist faster, and it gets there faster, but it won't degrade. If you haven't locked it into muscle memory, you're trying to remember where to put it or to watch where it goes to put it where you want it, you're relying a lot on the arms, and you end up having a hard time with accuracy. So that's something I want to mention. Again, if you find that you're off balance, very often it has a lot to do with how much muscular strength you're putting into the technique. People can get kind of excessive, and also whether or not you have good alignment with your feet and your footwork, your stance, so that when you transition from one thing to the other, your feet are still aligned in a way that they're supposed to help keep your balance. All right, so next up we're going to do something that looks totally different. We're going to do Bumbo Kun. So Bumbo Kun is the 7-star praying mantis crushing step. This form was added by our great grandmaster Lam Jo to our Lam family Hung Kuen curriculum. He saw this form, a colleague of his did it. He respected that person. He really liked the way the form looked. It's a pretty cool looking form. And so he added it. That's one way that you could show your friends some respect back in those days. And also, it was something he saw value in, and so we see value in it. And we carry on that tradition of doing this form, even though we're a traditional school and we do traditional Lam family. Hung Kuen, this is why we have this. All right, so enough with the history. Let's get into the actual form. So we're here. Raise the hands, sink, elbows out, press, and stand. Lift, slide out to leaning, and we high block. Hop, punch. Come across with your left hand, underneath, hop. 1, 2, 3, lunging out, thrust. Step all the way through, punch. Cross step, big circle, knee up, punch. Put your foot down first, turn your waist, elbow. Back fist, turn. We capture the arm, put the foot down first, sink, and turn. High block, ginger fist, vertical, hop. 1, 2, 3, thrust, punch. Step up, both the fists come down, lift. 1, 2, 3. So again, the timing of that, this comes down, we're going to lift. 1, 2, 3. So Imagine a string from my right fist to my left fist, and from my left elbow to my left knee. When I lift my right fist, it pulls the left fist. When I lift my left fist, it pulls the left knee. Hop. 1, 2, 3. Thrust. Step all the way through. Punch. Grab. Step back. Grab. Turn your waist. Pull. I'm just going to move over here so I stay on camera. Low block. Palm strike. Step up to leaning. Left elbow. Toe out. Cat stance. Right elbow. Step out. High block. Drop the elbow. Step through. Chop. Scoop. Double elbow. Shoulder width. Step out. Crossing the hands. Turn to leaning. So we're going to pull with this hand and strike out with this hand. It's important that these two hands are in alignment with each other. If you try to do this, it doesn't work. So this, you turn the waist. The same thing that pulls your left hand back is the thing that drives the right hand forward. So that's the body. We turn. Pivot, 1, 2, punch. We toe out, horizontal sweep. Sweep. Vertical, kick, hop, kick, thrust, strike, uppercut. Okay, I'm going to move back just a little, stay on camera. So we're going to press here. We lift, the right hand's actually a cut, it's not a block out here. We turn, press, lift, cut, turn, press, lift, cut. Step in, middle block, 1, 2, 3. So these punches don't come all the way back to the waist. They're short cycling punches. 1, 2, 3. You got to turn the waist. 1, 2, 3. Toe out, step up, uppercut, we sweep. 1, 2, 3. Turn, lift, sweep, 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 chop, leaning, hook. Back fist, we pull back, hop. 1, 2, 3. Thrust, step all the way through, punch. Turn, horizontal to vertical. Pivot, step up, double elbow, press, and we close. So deep breathing, and then we'll do just a couple of details from that form. Good. So a lot of people struggle a little bit with the footwork, right? People tend to kind of over-stylize the mantis. I know like the Wushu mantis, they get really low. But this is a little more of a kind of traditional mantis or a practical application of mantis. And so it's great if you can go low. I'm not saying there's no use to that. It's awesome. But the alignment of the feet is different than in a traditional southern stance. So when we're a leaning stance in the Hung Kuen or Honga style, the front toe lines up with your back heel in a straight line, but you're not here. When you're in a northern mantis, when you're here and you step out, you lunge forward, actually your feet are in a straighter line, right? And it's because you're driving that direction forward, you're lunging out. It doesn't have the same effect of turning from the waist with a fist on the back side to the front. It's not good to do that lined up like this, but if you're going to lunge out this way, then that can help, right? The other thing is the sweep is a lot of times misunderstood or misinterpreted. So you see a lot of people kind of stepping into it, right? But actually, if you were going to take someone off their feet, you intercept the hands, you've got their arm, this has to come around. And it has to have that directionality to it. It can't just step in. You really want to sweep, you turn the waist. So I think I went into this last week a little bit, but if you put your hands on your waist and we turn to the side, and now we bend the knees, we toe out with our right foot, and we're going to bring our left foot all the way around, but we're going to turn our waist, so we want our left elbow to face where our right elbow is now. And we toe out, turn. Toe out, turn. Toe out, turn. The reason we do that as a drill is because a lot of times we think we're turning out. We feel that sweeping motion on the floor underneath. But really, if you don't turn the body, then you're not getting that sweep action. in a way that really works. So again, you're here, toe out, turn, toe out, turn, toe out, turn, toe out, turn, toe out, turn. You can just step, turn, toe out, turn, toe out, turn, toe out, turn. One other thing that a lot of people aren't used to is that when that sweeping foot comes forward, if I put weight on it, I basically killed all that forward momentum. So I toe out, I shift my weight forward, but I keep my weight on the supporting leg. The sweeping leg doesn't have weight on it. You imagine if you put your weight on it halfway through, your foot's going to stop, right? And then another thing that's sometimes a little bit tricky is the hands to the sweep, right? So we do a little drill turning the wheel. Like if you had a big steering wheel that was directly in front of you, this also works for butterfly palms. It's actually the same motion that we were doing in the second form, Lao Ga. But here what we're doing is we start here, we turn the waist, we go to vertical facing the front, turn the wheel, and sweep. Go to vertical, turn the wheel, turn the body. Go to vertical, turn the wheel, turn the body. Go to vertical, turn the wheel, turn the body. Go to vertical, turn the wheel, turn the body. So when you combine that drill for the legs with this drill for the arms, you end up with this. Right? So it's something that, because it's fairly unique in its aesthetic, a lot of times maybe it's a little misinterpreted, people just stepping through it. But there's actually a lot more to it. So, oh, is it good? Nice. Actually, I didn't notice it as much. Yeah.
Remember, when you do something here,
You can see the backside. Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
So what we try to do is give you the best.
Do you have your mic on, Sifu? I'll turn mine off so it doesn't interfere.
Like I reset these cameras, and I reset the mirrors because I've been teaching some Zoom classes as well. So I try to give the best perspective, because when you're zooming, you really have one view with the camera, whereas when I have these mirrors that I move, you get to see the side view much better. So what Lucien was doing was, here you can see that I'm in this direction, but then you also have that side. So from learning perspective outside, you can track the movement a lot better. So even when we go to this position, and I was showing a lot of this type of technique last night. If you go visit those videos, you could see that I spent a lot of time with techniques in Bang Bu Kun, and also some of the footwork, some of the things that Lucien just did on the way to practice. Because when you first learn movements, especially watching, you don't really know what you're watching unless you have previous experience. So it's kind of interesting that when you watch, you assume, and then when you go to do it, it's really not exactly what you expect. But looking at the, whether it's Chun Kyo in a position like this, you can see from this direction, but then can you see it from that direction and then from behind? So that's what we're trying to get across. So when you see a movement, you can see the direction and you can see the perspective that way. When you're in a black tiger like this, or if you're thrusting like in the second form and we're poking like that, you can see it there. And then when you see it here, you can see that I'm in this corner and there's an alignment there. And then if I salute and I go to that corner, you can see that this directional changes that you can't see when it's just a two-dimensional movement, two-dimensional image. Because when you're watching video, it is only 2 dimensions. Whereas when we're teaching this, you look at all the mirrors that I have here, how we have to use those actually to give you a better view. It's pretty interesting that when I teach live, I use these mirrors, and I try to always teach using the mirror as a visual and gives you the ability to follow from behind. That's really what's important. So on that note, any questions, Lucian?
Actually, let's see. So Brian asked if we can do jeet in this class. And
Yep.
Roger just said that he was really enjoying the mantis.
Yeah. So Brian, we can't do Wa Kuen in this class, but the thing is, come to class and we can do it there.
That's what I told him. I said, we do those
Yeah.
classes in the evening. Come on in.
Yeah, you did. He did some of it yesterday. So here's something interesting that I found out last night, that there was some chat going on yesterday about what I was teaching in class, whether it's northern or southern, and some people did some Hungar, and they said, oh, the Hungar doesn't have that. There's a lot of kicks in that. That looks like southern. The hands look a little bit too fast for Hungar and this and that. So, I mentioned earlier that, in the class that, traditionally I teach the Hungar, but not specifically only the Hungar as a kungfu method, because we have some northern forms brought down, and there's some historical background to that. What you see if you watch some of the classes, and what Brian asked for, is jeet kune. And jeet kune is a fundamental form, just like bambu kune is a fundamental form to praying mantis. Jeet kune is a northern form in the Jingwu Association. Jingwu Association is the modern shaolin. It was maybe goes back into maybe the early 1900s when Jingwu Association was first formed. So because I teach Wu style Tai Chi, my teacher learned from a person named Moy Nong, and he actually was an eagle claw practitioner. My teacher didn't really learn eagle claw from him, but he did learn some Jingwu or jeet kune from him. Jeet kune comes from that association. So people that taught eagle claw from Lao Fat Mang was the grand master of the eagle claw. He was part of that Jingwu Association. So because of that relationship, my teacher ended up learning jeet kune, which is a northern form. So we do that form as one of our supplement forms, because it's just one of the things we preserve. Bangbu Kun is one of the forms that are not really Hungar, but we preserve it, and we have numerous other forms that we have that have been brought in. And I mentioned earlier that, when teachers learn and they befriend other martial artists and they share some of their skills, some of it comes in ways of a form. So, when you have a traditionalist who's been doing this for many, many years and associated with many, many people, there's a chance that there might be a form that was learned and still brought in and taught. So that's how we have all these other forms. Not only am I a traditionalist, I'm actually trained in some of the modern forms. I have a certification in some of the modern forms, the 24 movement and the 42 movement. I got certification in this country from the Wushu Association. But the thing is, I teach it as just a form that we teach for competition and for interest. Some people want to do that. 24 moves of Tai Chi is a standardized universal form, so I teach that. It's not one of our mainstream things, but I wouldn't say I'm a super expert at the modern, but I do teach it. And at the same time, people that watch this would say, well, why are they teaching all these other styles? I teach all these other styles because we have them, and the name of the school is Calvin Chin's Martial Arts Academy. It's not specific to any single style, even though we house the 3 traditional forms, which is Hung Kuen, which is the southern style, Wu style Tai Chi traditional, and we also have Wudong Yet Hi Ng Hang One, which is the Wudong system, sister system to Tai Chi, which is a small system taught by Hansen Ma, who is our great grandmaster, who is the son of the late Marak San, who was the grandmaster of the Yethimon system. So that's the lineage. If someday we show our altar with the pictures of the people on the wall, you will know where those systems were passed down from, and we try to keep that heritage, and we try to preserve, their teaching as well as what we've brought in, or I've brought in over the decades and decades of teaching. So our system has been around in this country, in the USA, for since the 1970. So that's 30, almost 50 years in America. So that's why we do have a lot of content that we teach, or I teach across, hopefully through YouTube across the globe for exposure. And I do all these mirrors for specifically that, to give you the best perspective of what's being taught. And if you don't have a teacher, then this is the way to learn it. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up.